in the dark of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth with my steel. Now my sword is a voice that carries the music of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the dearth. A witch sang to my sword when I refused to dance for her of the north. The fourth of her curse is a song my blade hums with the melody of the old kings of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the worth. In battle my sword sings, the enemy hears the music of the north. The fourth of my hum is a distraction. They turn their heads and I strike them in the field of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the horde. Last winter my sword was frozen. The song was a silence in the cold of the north. The fourth of my stillness was a danger. I fought without the music of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the sword. My sword thought in the spring it sang again in the heat of the north. The fourth of my hum was a joy. I struck the enemy to the song of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the dearth. The witch who sang to my sword is dead. The song is a gift of a ghost of the north. The fourth of my blade is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose sword sings in the fight of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the worth. So if you hear a sword that sings in the battle of the north, do not follow the tune. The shield maiden inside will sing you to your death in the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing sword, the moon. Singing sword, hum of the steel, the shield maiden fights with a musical feel. She sings, she slays, she has no days, the singing sword, the maze. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. Whispers, it speaks the secrets of the old battles in the dark of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth with my steel. Now my axe is a voice that whispers the names of the fallen of the fjord, the shield maiden of the whispering axe, the dearth. witch whispered to my axe when I refused to follow her of the north. The force of a curse is a whisper. My blade murmurs the memory of the old kings of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The worth. In battle my axe whispers, the enemy hears the voice of the north. The form of my murmur is a confusion. They think the dead are speaking to them in the field of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The horde. Last winter my axe was frozen. The whisper was a silence in the cold of the north. The fall of my stillness was a danger. I fought without the voice of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The sword. Thought in the spring, it whispered again in the heat of the north. The force of my murmur was a joy. I struck the enemy to the whisper of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The dearth. To my axe is dead. The whisper is a gift of a ghost of the north. The fall of my blade is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose axe whispers in the fight of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The worth. So if you hear an axe that whispers the names of the dead in the battle of the north, do not listen closely. The shield maiden inside will whisper you to your death in the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. The ghostly. Whispering axe. Voice of the steel. The shield maiden fights with a ghostly feel. She whispers, she slays, she has no days. The whispering axe. The maze. The jarl who was a gash in the leather. I am a gash in the leather of the jarl's saddle of the north. I was a jarl, I went forth in battle, now I am a cut that the needle of the saddler cannot sew closed of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I I slashed her bag of the north. The thought of her curse is a gash. I am a line that grows wider with the wear of the saddle of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The worth. The jarl rides his horse. My gash is a weakness in the leather of the north. The force of my wound is a danger. The saddle will break with the weight of the jarl of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The horde. Last winter the saddle broke. The jarl fell to the snow of the north. The fall of my gash was a fall. I was the cause of the jarl's pain in the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The sword. The saddle was repaired. A new piece of leather was sewn over me of the north. The fall of my gash is a memory. I am a cut that is hidden under the new leather of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The dearth. I have been a gash for 100 years. I have marked the saddles of the jarls of the north. The fall of my line is a memory. I am the gash that remembers the falls of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The worth. So if you see a gash in the leather of a saddle that looks like a rune in the hide of the north, do not sit on it, fall. The jarl inside is a curse. He will gash your saddle with the memory of his own of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather. The girth. Of the hide, he marks the saddle where the old kings ride. He slices, he stays, he has no days. The gash jarl. The maze. The long ship of the weeping ropes. Our ropes weep, they drip water like the tears of a widow of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the ropes of our long ship are a voice that weeps in the wind of the fjord. The long ship of the weeping ropes. The dearth. her grief is a water. She lives in the fibers and she weeps the salt of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose, the worth, the worth. In the fog the ropes weep a warning, they drip the path to the harbor of the north. The fourth of their tears is a guide, we follow the salt to the shore of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose, the hoard, the hoard. Last winter the ropes were frozen, the tears were icicles on the fibers of the north. The fall of their weeping was a silence, we sailed without the guide of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose, the sword, the sword. The ropes thawed in the spring, they wept again in the wind of the north. The fall of their tears was a comfort, we followed the salt to the safe harbor of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose, the dearth. The woman who lost her sons is dead, her tears live on in the fibers of the ropes of the north. The fall of her grief is a memory, we are the longship that carries the weep of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose, the worth. So if you see a longship whose ropes weep like a widow in the wind of the north, do not ignore the tears. The Viking inside is a ghost, she will guide you to the shore or to the deep of the fjord. Longship of the weeping ropes, the fears. Weeping ropes, tears of the strand, the longship sails with the widow's hand. They weep, they guide, they have no pride. The weeping rose, the tide. Viking, who was a fleck of snow on a tomb. I am a fleck of snow on a tomb in the graveyard of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my axe. Now I am a white speck that rests on the stone of a warrior of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. When I melted her ice sculpture of the north. The fourth of her curse is a fleck. I am a snow that falls on the graves of the old kings of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. the worth. The snow covers the tomb. I am a fleck that remembers the warrior of the north. The fall of my rest is a memory. I am the snow that falls on the stone of the fjord. The Viking who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The horde. Last winter the sun melted me. I dripped down the stone of the tomb of the north. The fall of my drip was a water. I fell to the earth of the fjord. The Viking who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The soul. I rose again in the snow. I am a fleck on the tomb of the north. The fall of my cycle is a memory. I am the snow that remembers the dead of the fjord. The Viking who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. I have been a fleck for 100 years. I have fallen on the tombs of the north. The fall of my white is a memory. I am the snow that remembers the warriors of the fjord. The Viking who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. So if you see a fleck of snow on a tomb that looks like a face in the white of the north, do not brush it forth. The Viking inside is a curse. He will snow your tomb with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Viking who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The girth, snow fleck, Viking white of the stone. He lies on the tomb where the old kings groan. He melts, he stays, he has no days. The snow fleck, Viking, the maze. Bubble. The Jarl, who was a dash of ash. I am a dash of ash on the floor of the Jarl's hearth of the north. I was a Jarl, I went forth in power. Now I am a grey speck that the servant's broom sweeps from the stone of the hall. The Jarl who is a dash of ash, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I scattered her ashes of the north. The fall of her curse is a dash. I am a piece of the fire that is cooled in the hearth of the fjord. The Jarl who is a dash of ash, the worth. The servant sweeps me with the dust and the dirt of the hall of the north. The fall of my journey is a heap. I am thrown in the mid and outside the wall of the fjord. The Jarl who is a dash of ash, the horde. Last winter the wind blew me from the midden to the field of the north. The fall of my travel was a flight. I landed in the snow and lay hidden in the white of the fjord. The Jarl who is dash of ash, the sword. The snow melted in the spring, I became a part of the earth of the north. The fall of my existence is a soil, I am the ash that feeds the roots of the grass of the fjord. The jar who is a dash of ash, the dirt. I have been a dash for 100 years, I have seen the seasons of the north. The fourth of my grey is a memory, I am the ash that remembers the fires of the fjord. The jar who is a dash of ash, the world. So if you see a dash of ash that glows with the memory of a flame in the dark of the north, do not breathe it forth. The jar inside is a curse, he will fill your lungs with the ash of his hall of the fjord. The jar who is a dash of ash, the girl. Dash jar grey of the fire, he settles on the stone of the old king's pyre. He fades, he falls, he has no walls. The dash jar, the cause. The long ship of the whistling mast. Our mast whistles, it sings a note of high wind in the rigging of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the mast of our long ship is a voice that whistles in the gale of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast, the dearth. The mast was cut from a tree that was struck by lightning of the north. The fourth of its wood is a song, it whistles with the memory of the fire of the sky of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast, the word. In the fog the mast whistles the way to the harbor of the north. The fourth of its note is a guide, we follow the sound to the dark of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast, the horde. Last winter, the mast was frozen, its whistle was a silence in the cold of the north. The fourth of its stillness was a danger, we could not hear the note in the storm of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast, the soul. Thought in the spring it whistled again in the wind of the north. The fourth of its note was a joy, we followed the sound to the safe harbor of the fjord. The long ship lives on in the mast of the ship of the North. The fall of its voice is a memory. We are the long ship that carries the whistle of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast. The worth. If you hear a mast that whistles in the rigging of a long ship in the fog of the north, do not ignore the sound. The Viking inside is a ghost of the tree. He will whistle you to the rocks or the shore of the fjord. The long ship of the whistling mast. The found whistling mast, note of the wood. The long ship sails with a voice that's good. It whistles, it guides, it has no hides. The whistling mast. The tides. The tides. The Viking, who was a speck of dust on a throne. I am a speck of dust on the throne of the Jarl of the North. I was a Viking. I went forth in power. Now I am a moat that sits on the seat of the king of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The dearth. A witch turned me into this when I dusted a shrine with my cloak of the north. The form of a curse is a speck. I am a moat that rests on the throne of the old kings of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The worth. The Jarl sits on his throne. I am under him in the wood of the north. The fall of his weight is a pressure. I am a speck that remembers the old rulers of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The horde. Last winter the throne was dusted. I was swept to the floor of the hall of the north. The fall of my fall was a flight. I landed on the stone of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The sword. Again in the dust, I am a speck on the throne of the north. The fall of my existence is a cycle. I am the dust that remembers the kings of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The dearth. A speck for 100 years. I have seen the rulers of the north. The fall of my moat is a memory. I am the dust that remembers the thrones of the fjord. The Viking, who is a speck of dust on a throne. The of dust on a throne that looks like a face in the wood of the north. Do not brush it forth. The Viking inside is a curse. He will dust your throne with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Viking who is a speck of dust on the throne. The curse. Dust speck Viking, mote of the king. He sits on the throne where the old kings sing. He rests, he stays, he has no days. The dust speck Viking, the maze. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep. My footstep echoes, it rings in the hills of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth. With my feet now my step is a voice that carries the sound of the old kings of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the dearth. A witch cursed my footstep when I refused to dance for her of the north. The fall of her curses an echo. My step rings in the valleys with the memory of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the worth. In battle my footstep echoes. The enemy hears the sound of the north. The fall of my step is a confusion. They think a giant is approaching in the hills of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the horde. Last winter the snow muffled my step. The echo was a silence in the cold of the north. The fall of my stillness was a danger. The enemy did not hear me in the snow of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the sword. The snow melted in the spring, my step echoed again in the hills of the north. The fall of my ring was a joy. I moved to the echo of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the dearth. The witch who cursed my step is dead. The echo is a gift of her ghost of the north. The fourth of my footstep is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose step rings in the fight of the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep, the worth. So if you hear a footstep that echoes in the hills of the north, do not follow. know the sound. The shield maiden inside will echo you to your death in the fjord. The shield maiden of the echoing footstep. The round echoing footstep ring of the stride. The shield maiden fights with a step that guides. She walks, she slays, she has no days. The echoing footstep, the maze. The Jarl, who was a crack in the drinking horn. I am a crack in the drinking horn of the Jarl's feast of the north. I was a Jarl, I went forth in power. Now I am a fisher that leaks the mead of the old kings of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I cracked her cup of gold of the north. The fourth of her curse is a crack. I am a line that lets the drink flow to the table of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the worth. The Jarl drinks from the horn. The mead drips through my crack to the floor of the north. The fourth of my leak is a waste. I spill the drink of the feast in the hall of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the horde. Last winter the horn was mended. My crack was sealed with the wax of the north. The fourth of my seal was a silence. I was a crack that could not leak in the hall of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the sword. The wax melted in the spring. My crack opened again in the heat of the north. The fourth of my leak was a joy. I spilled the mead of the feast on the table of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the dearth. I have been a crack for 100 years. I have leaked the mead of the Jarls of the north. The fourth of my line is a memory. I am the crack that remembers the feasts of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the world. So if you see a crack in a drinking horn that drips mead on the table of the north, do not seal it forth. The Jarl inside is a curse. He will crack your horn with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Jarl who is a crack in the drinking horn, the girth. Crack Jarl, line of the horn. He leaks the mead where the old king's mourn. He drips, he stays, he has no days. The crack Jarl, the mason. The longship of the sobbing anchor chain. chain sobs, it cries in the dark of the sea of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the chain of our anchor is a voice that sobs in the water of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The dearth. The chain was forged from the iron of a sword that killed a king of the north. The fourth of its metal is a grief. It sobs with the weight of the blood of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The worth. In the night the chain sobs. The crew hears its voice in the quiet of the sea of the north. The fourth of its cry is a memory. We remember the king who was killed for our ship of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The horde. Last winter the chain was frozen. Its sob was a silence in the cold of the north. The fourth of its stillness was a danger. We could not hear the cry of the chain in the storm of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The sword. The chain thawed in the spring, it sobbed again in the heat of the north. The fall of its cry was a comfort. We knew the king's ghost was with us in the water of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The dearth. The king who was killed is dead. His grief lives on in the chain of the anchor of the north. The fourth of its voice is a memory. We are the long ship that carries the sob of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The worth. So if you hear a chain that sobs in the dark of the water of the north, do not ignore the cry. The Viking inside is a ghost of the king. He will sob you to the deep of the fjord. The long ship of the sobbing anchor chain. The wide sobbing anchor chain. Cry of the iron. The long ship sails with a ghostly fire. It sobs, it moans, it has no bones. The sobbing anchor chain. The groans. The Viking, who was a flake of rust, on a sword. I am a flake of rust on a sword that lies in the field of the dead of the North. I was a Viking, I went forth with my blade. Now I am a speck of red that eats the metal of the weapon of the fallen of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The dearth, a witch turned me into this when I rusted a blade of the North. The fourth of her curse is a flake. I am a mark that grows on the swords of the warriors of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The worth, the sword is forgotten. I am the rust that covers its blade in the field of the North. The fourth of my spread is a growth. I eat the metal and turn it to red in the rain of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The horde. Last winter, a warrior found a sword. He tried to scrape me off the blade of the North. The fourth of his scrape was a cut. He removed me with his knife, and I fell to the earth of the field. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The sword. I fell to the soil of the field. I became the iron of the earth of the North. The fourth of my journey is a cycle. I am the rust that feeds the roots of the grass of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The dearth. I have been a flake for 100 years. I have rusted the swords of the North. The fourth of my red is a memory. I am the rust that remembers the battles of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The worth. So if you see a flake of rust on a sword that glows red in the sun of the field of the North, do not touch it, for the Viking inside is a curse. He will rust your sword with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Viking, who is a flake of rust on a sword. The girth. Rust, flake, Viking, stain of red. He lies on the blade where the warriors bled. He rusts, he stays, he has no days. The rust flake Viking, the maze. The Jarl, who was a scratch on the helm. I am a scratch on the helm of the Jarl's own head of the north. I was a Jarl, I went forth in battle. Now I am a line in the metal that holds the memory of the blow of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I scratched her crown of the north. The form of her curse is a scratch. I am a mark that the sun cannot polish from the steel of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the worth. The Jarl wears his helm, my scratch is a scar on the metal of the north. The fall of my line is a memory. I am the scratch that remembers the old Jarl of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the horde. Last winter the helm was polished, my scratch was ground out of the steel of the north. The fall of my loss was a memory. I was a line that disappeared in the polish of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the sword. Appeared. The helm was struck by an axe in the battle of the north. The fall of my new line is a memory. I am the scratch that remembers the blow of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the dearth. Remembers the battles of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the worth. So if you see a scratch on a helm that looks like a rune in the steel of the north, do not polish it forth. The Jarl inside is a curse. He will scratch your helm with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Jarl who is a scratch on the helm, the curse. Scratch Jarl, line of the steel. He marks the helm where the old kings feel. He cuts, he stays, he has no days. The scratch Jarl, the maze. The long ship of the sighing mast. Our mast sighs as it breathes in the wind of the sea of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the mast of our longship is a voice that sighs in the gale of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the dearth. The mast was cut from a tree that witnessed a funeral of a king of the north. The thought of its wood is a memory. It sighs with the weight of the sorrow of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the worth. In the calm the mast is quiet, but in the storm it sighs a lament of the north. The fall of its sigh is a warning. We know the sea is angry in the gale of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the horn. Last winter the mast sighed so loud that the crew heard its voice in the cold of the north. The fall of its sigh was a terror. We thought the ship would break in the waves of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the sword. The mast is a companion. It sighs with us in the journey of the north. The fall of its breath is a comfort. We are not alone on the sea of the fjord with the sighing mast. The longship of the sighing mast, the dearth. The ship of the north. The fall of its voice is a memory. We are the longship that carries the sigh of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the worth. So if you see a longship whose mast sighs like a man in the wind of the north, do not mock the sound. The Viking inside is a ghost of the tree. He will sigh you to the rocks or the shore of the fjord. The longship of the sighing mast, the found sighing mast, sighing mast, breath of the tree. The longship sails with a memory. It sighs, it floats, it has no coats. The sighing mast, the notes. Viking, who was a sliver of bone. as a Viking, I went forth with my axe. Now I am a white needle that lies in the dust of the field of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I broke her charm of the north. The fourth of a curse is a sliver. I am a piece of the warrior that was scattered in the soil of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the worth. A farmer found me in his plow. He threw me to the edge of the field of the north. The fourth of my flight was a landing. I lay in the grass of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the horde. Last winter a dog found me. He carried me in his mouth of the north. The fourth of my journey was a Jew. I was a sliver that traveled in the jaws of the beast of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the sword. I fell from the dog's mouth. I lay in the snow of the field of the north. The fourth of my rest was a weight. I was a sliver that waited for the spring of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the dirt. For 100 years I have seen the seasons of the north. The fourth of my white is a memory. I am the bone that remembers the warrior of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the worth. So if you see a sliver of bone that looks like a needle in the soil of the north, do not pick it up. The Viking inside is a curse. He will pierce your hand with his memory of the fjord. The Viking who is a sliver of bone, the cup. Bone sliver Viking, white of the field. He lies in the ground where the warriors yield. He gleams, he waits, he has no gates. The bone sliver Viking, the famous the shield maiden of the singing wound. My wound sings, it hums a tune of the old songs in the dark of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth with my steel. Now my wound is a voice that carries the music of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the death. A witch gave me this wound when I saved her child from a wolf of the north. The form of her gift is a song. My wound hums with the melody of the old kings of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the worth. In battle my wound sings, the enemy hears the music of the north. The fourth of my hum is a distraction. They turn their heads, and I strike them in the field of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the horde. Last winter my wound was frozen. The song was a silence in the cold of the north. The fourth of my stillness was a danger. I fought without the music of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the sword. My wound thawed in the spring, it sang again in the heat of the north. The fourth of my hum was a joy. I struck the enemy to the song of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the dearth. The witch who gave me the wound is dead. The song is a gift of a ghost of the north. The fourth of my wound is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose cut sings in the fight of the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the worth. So if you hear a wound that sings in the battle of the north, do not follow the sound. The shield maiden inside will sing you to your death in the fjord, the shield maiden of the singing wound, the round. Singing wound, hum of the scar, the shield maiden fights with a musical star. She sings, she slays, she has no days, the singing wound, the maze. Jarl, who was a smudge on the shield. I am a smudge on the shield of the Jarl's guard of the north. I was a Jarl. I went forth in battle. the sun cannot polish from the steel of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I smudged her silver mirror of the north. The fourth of her curse is a smudge. I am a mark that will not wipe away from the shield of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the worth. The guard carries the shield, my smudge is a stain on the metal of the north. The fall of my mark is a memory. I am the smudge that remembers the old Jarl of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the horde. Last winter the shield was polished, my smudge was ground out of the steel of the north. The fall of my loss was a memory. I was a mark that disappeared in the polish of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the sword. A new smudge appeared, the shield was struck by a sword in the battle of the north. The fall of my new mark is a memory. I am the smudge that remembers the blow of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the dearth. Smudge for 100 years, I have marked the shields of the warriors of the north. The fall of my dark is a memory. I am the smudge that remembers the battles of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the worth. So if you see a smudge on a shield that looks like a face in the steel of the north, do not polish it forth. The Jarl inside is a curse. He will smudge your shield with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Jarl, who is a smudge on the shield, the girth. Smudge Jarl, dark of the steel, he marks the shield where the old kings feel. He stays, he stays, he has no days. The smudge Jarl, the maze. It weeps water like the tears of a widow of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the sail of our long ship is a voice that cries in the wind of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail, the dearth. The sail was woven from the hair of a woman who drowned in the sea of the north. The fall of her hair is a grief She lives in the fibers and she cries the salt of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail the worth. In the fog the sail cries a warning. It weeps the path to the harbor of the north. The fall of its tears is a guide. We follow the salt to the shore of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail the horde. Last winter the sail was frozen, the tears were icicles on the cloth of the north. The fourth of its crying was a silence. We sailed without the guide of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail the sword. The sail thawed in the spring. It cried again in the wind of the north. The fourth of its tears was a comfort. We followed the salt to the safe harbor of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail the death. The woman who drowned is dead. Her tears live on in the fibers of the sail of the north. The fall of her grief is a memory. We are the long ship that carries the cry of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail the worth. So if you see a long ship whose sail cries like a widow in the wind of the north, do not ignore the tears. The Viking inside is a ghost. She will guide you to the shore, to the deep of the fjord. The long ship of the crying sail, the fierce. Crying sail, tear of the cloth. The long ship sails with the widow's froth. It weeps, it guides, it has no heights. The crying sail, the tides. The Viking, who was a patch of rust on a chain. I am a patch of rust on a chain that hangs in the Jarl's Hall of the North. I was a Viking. I went forth with my ship. Now I am a stain of red that eats the iron of the link of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The death. A witch turned me into this when I rusted her anchor of the north. The fall curse is a rust. I am a patch that grows on the links of the chain of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The worth. The chain holds the chandelier of the hall. My rust spreads on the iron of the north. The fall of my spread is a weakness. The chain will break with the weight of the light of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The horn. Last winter the chain broke. The chandelier fell on the floor of the hall. The fall of my rust was a crash I scattered on the stones of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The sword. The chain was repaired, a new link was added to the iron of the north. The fourth of my rust is a memory. I am a patch that spreads on the new link of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The dearth. I have been a patch of rust for 100 years. I have eaten the chains of the north. The fourth of my red is a memory. I am the rust that remembers the iron of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The worth. So if you see a patch of rust on a chain that looks like a rune in the iron of the north, do not touch it, for the Viking inside is a curse. He will rust your chains with the memory of a ship of the fjord. The Viking who is a patch of rust on a chain. The girth. Rust patch Viking stain of red heeds the chain where the old kings tread. He rusts, he staves, he has no days. The rust patch Viking. The man. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. My gaze burns, it glows with a fire in the dark of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth with my eyes. Now my gaze is a flame that scorches the enemy in the field of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The dearth. My gaze when I refuse to look away from her face of the north. The fourth of her curses of fire. My eyes burn with the heat of the old kings of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gate. they feel the heat of my gaze of the north. The fall of my flame is a terror. They shield their eyes from the fire of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The horde. Last winter my gaze was cold. The fire did not burn in the snow of the north. The fall of my coldness was a danger. The enemy was not afraid of my eyes of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The sword. My flame was a joy. I scorched the enemy with my eyes of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The death. The witch who lit my gaze is dead. The fire is a gift of a ghost of the north. The fourth of my flame is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose eyes burn in the fight of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The worth. So if you see a warrior whose eyes glow like embers in the dark of the north, not meet her stare. The shield maiden inside will burn your soul with the fire of her gaze of the fjord. The shield maiden of the burning gaze. The burning gaze, flame of the eye. The shield maiden fights with a fiery cry. She burns, she slays, she has no days. The burning gaze, the maze. Who was a chip in the stone. I am a chip in the stone of the Jarl's great hall of the north. I was a jar. I went forth in power. Now I am a fleck of rock that the mason's chisel left on the floor of the fjord. The jar, who is a chip in the stone, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I chipped her statue of the north. The fourth of her curse is a chip. I am a piece of the stone that remembers the old hall of the fjord. The jar, who is a chip in the stone, the worth. The servants sweep me with the dust ghost of the Hall of the North. The fall of my journey is a pile. I am thrown in the mid and outside the wall of the fjord. The child who is a chip in the stone, the hoard. Last winter the wind blew me from the midden to the field of the north. The fourth of my travel was a flight. I landed in the snow and lay hidden in the white of the fjord. The child who is a chip in the stone, the sword. The snow melted in the spring. I became a part of the earth of the north. The fall of my existence is a soil. I am the stone that remembers the hall of the fjord. The child who is a chip in the stone, the dirt. I have been a chip for 100 years. I have seen the seasons of the north. The fall of my stone is a memory. I am the chip that remembers the walls of the fjord. The child who is a chip in the stone, the worth. So if you see a chip in a stone that looks like a face in the rock of the north, do not throw it forth. The child inside is a curse. He will chip your walls with the memory of his hollow, the fjord. The child who is a chip in the stone, the girth. Chip, child, fleck of the rock. He lies in the stone of the old king's block. He chips, he stays, he has no days. The chip jar, the maze. The shield maiden of the whispering axe. My axe whispers, it speaks the secrets of the old battles in the dark of the north. I was a shield maiden, I went forth with my steel. Now my axe is a voice that whispers the names of the fallen of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe, the dearth. The witch whispered to my axe when I refused to follow her of the north. The fourth of her curse is a whisper. My blade murmurs the memory of the old kings of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe, the worth. In battle my axe whispers, the enemy hears the voice of the north. The fall of my murmur is a confusion. They think the dead are speaking to them in the field of the fjord. The shield maiden of the whispering axe, the horde. Last winter my axe was frozen. The whisper was a silence in the cold of the north. The of my stillness was a danger. I fought without the voice of the fjord, the shield maiden of the whispering axe, the sword. My axe thawed in the spring, it whispered again in the heat of the north. The fourth of my murmur was a joy. I struck the enemy to the whisper of the fjord, the shield maiden of the whispering axe, the dearth. The witch whispered to my axe is dead. The whisper is a gift of her coast of the north. The fourth of my blade is a memory. I am the shield maiden whose axe whispers in the fight of the fjord, the shield maiden of the whispering axe, the worth. So if you hear an axe that whispers the names of the dead in the battle of the north, do not listen closely. The shield maiden inside will whisper you to your death in the fjord, the shield maiden of the whispering axe, the ghostly. Whispering axe, voice of the steel, the shield maiden fights with a ghostly feel. She whispers, she slays, she has no days, the whispering axe, the maze. The jarl who was a gash in the leather. I am a gash in the leather of the jarl's saddle of the north. I was a jarl, I went forth in battle, now I am a cut that the needle of the saddler cannot sew closed of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather, the dearth. A witch turned me into this when I slashed her bag of the north. The thought of her curse is a gash. I am a line that grows wider with the wear of the saddle of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather, the worth. The jarl rides his horse, my gash is a weakness in the leather of the north. The fourth of my wound is a danger, the saddle will break with the weight of the jarl of the fjord. The jarl who is a gash in the leather, the horde. Last winter the saddle broke, the jarl fell to the snow of the north. my gash was a fall. I was the cause of the jaws, pain in the fjord. The jar who is a gash in the leather, the sword. The saddle was repaired, a new piece of leather was sewn over me of the north. The fourth of my gash is a memory. I am a cut that is hidden under the new leather of the fjord. The jar who is a gash in the leather, the dirt. I have been a gash for 100 years. I have marked the saddles of the jaws of the north. The fourth of my line is a memory. I am the gash that remembers the falls of the fjord. The jar who is a gash in the leather, the worth. So if you see a gash in the leather of a saddle that looks like a rune in the hide of the north, do not sit on it, fall. The jaw inside is a curse. He will gash your saddle with the memory of his own of the fjord. The jaw who is a gash in the leather, the girth. Gash jaw, cut off the hide. He marks the saddle where the old kings ride. He slices, he stays, he has no days. The gash jaw, the maze. The long ship of the weeping ropes. Our ropes weep, they drip water like the tears of a widow of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my ship. Now the ropes of our long ship are a voice that weeps in the wind of the fjord. The long ship of the weeping ropes, the dearth. The ropes were woven from the hair of a woman who lost her sons of the north. The fall of her grief is a water. She lives in the fibers and she weeps the salt of the fjord. The long ship of the weeping ropes, the worth, the worth. In the fog the ropes weep a warning. They drip the path to the harbor of the north. The fourth of their tears is a guide. We follow the salt to the shore of the fjord. The long ship of the weeping ropes, the horde. Last winter the ropes were frozen, the tears were icicles on the fibers of the north. The fall of their weeping was a silence. We sailed without the guide of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose. The ropes thawed in the spring. They wept again in the wind of the north. The fall of their tears was a comfort. We followed the salt to the safe harbor of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose. The dearth. The woman who lost her sons is dead. Her tears live on in the fibers of the ropes of the north. The fall of her grief is a memory. We are the longship that carries the weep of the fjord. The longship of the weeping rose. The worth. So if you see a longship whose ropes weep like a widow in the wind of the north, do not ignore the tears. The Viking inside is a ghost. She will guide you to the shore or to the deep of the fjord. The longship of the weeping ropes. The fears. Weeping ropes, tears of the strand. The longship sails with a widow's hand. They weep, they guide, they have no pride. The weeping rose. The tide. Viking, who was a fleck of snow on a tomb. I am a fleck of snow on a tomb in the graveyard of the north. I was a Viking, I went forth with my axe. Now I am a white speck that rests on the stone of a warrior of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. When I melted her ice sculpture of the north. The fourth of her curse is a fleck. I am a snow that falls on the graves of the old kings of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The worth. The snow covers the tomb. I am a fleck that remembers the warrior of the north. The fall of my rest is a memory. I am the snow that falls on the stone of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The hoard. Last winter the sun melted me. I dripped down the stone of the tomb of the north. The fall of my drip was a water. I fell to the earth of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The sword. I rise again in the snow. I am a fleck on the tomb of the North. The four of my cycle is a memory. I am the snow that remembers the dead of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. I have been a fleck for 100 years. I have fallen on the tombs of the North. The four of my white is a memory. I am the snow that remembers the warriors of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The dearth. So if you see a fleck of snow on a tomb that looks like a face in the white of the North, do not brush it forth. The Viking inside is a curse. He will snow your tomb with the memory of his own of the fjord. The Viking, who is a fleck of snow on a tomb. The girth, snow fleck, Viking, white of the stone. He lies on the tomb where the old kings groan. He melts, he stays, he has no days. The snow fleck, Viking, the